Yeah, that's it. It's really taking, if there's something that's repeating, like you start to notice a pattern or something that you've been wanting to let go of for some time, and here it is again, or you've kind of forgiven it a bit and then it's triggered again, then there is a way of just going step by step through inner inquiry. And what I found myself doing was writing it down, and journaling was always very helpful to help me just get the thoughts out in a very full way, because it's like digging up a weed out of the garden, and some of those weeds have roots with additional kind of tendrils, and if you just pull the top part out, the roots are still there in the garden. And so it really does take some attention and care when it's something that's been repeating. So starting with the surface perception of what it is a good start, and then dropping through into seeing what the emotions are. Perhaps I'll just see, does anyone have an example? Does anyone have something on their heart, like right now, or has something kind of flashed into mind that you'd actually like some help with, and we could even use that to kind of look at and explore together?
I'm not sure of your question. What is your question?
Do you have an upset or like an issue, something that keeps repeating, that you feel like you've tried to forgive and let go of, but it's come around again? Yeah, there's an example of my book involving brushing teeth, actually. I could use that. And that was when I was first traveling with David, and when he brushed his teeth, he made these loud kind of noises. Brush, brush, brush. And it really irritated me. So he was down the hall brushing his teeth, and I was like there, trying to be spiritual, not wanting to have these thoughts and irritation. And the last thing I want to do is expose them to him. But he came down the hallway, and I was irritated. We were going to have a siesta and rest because there was a gathering that night, and so I knew there's no way that I could rest and relax and meditate with these attack thoughts in my mind. So I said to him, okay, David, I get really upset with you when you make your loud hoiking noises when you brush your teeth, and I wish you didn't do that. And he said to me, you're not angry at me, you're angry at God. And he rolled over and went to sleep. I was like, I don't understand. What does God have to do with your hoiking noises? But I'm devoted to inner inquiry. So I got out my pen and paper, and I went through these steps in the mind to look at it. The surface perception, the surface upset, that's really obvious. I just wrote that out. And then the emotions, because underneath, the mind is very deep, and it seems as if we're upset by what's happening on the surface, and we just want to change that to feel happy, right? Mm-hmm. And it seems like that's what's happening to us, and it's beyond our control. But it's the opposite. It's like deep in the mind is an identity of a self that is living this and basically making up this whole world for itself and living in this loop of existence based on its identity and its beliefs. This is the metaphysics of A Course in Miracles. And the only way to understand that is to go through the release of the beliefs and the release of that identity. When that identity shifts, you see a different world. It's like the light comes into your mind and you no longer see the world the way that you did. And that's what's happened through this ongoing deep practice of forgiveness. So in this example, there's this upset, and I was willing to see, okay, how is this my belief that is causing me to be in this house, in this moment, in a relationship with a mystic who makes whacking noises brushing his teeth, because I want to be released from this identity. So I traced it downward, and even though it seems insane going through these steps, thinking, how is this my mind? How can this possibly be my mind? It's David. It's the way he brushes his teeth. But I was willing. So I went down through the emotions. How do I feel? I feel annoyed, irritated, angry. It was about it. Drop down to the thoughts. What are the thoughts in my mind? And wrote the thoughts out, and all of these kind of thoughts about the situation, and they're all in the same category of being attack thoughts. You know, when your mind is aligned with God and the peace of God, your thoughts are aligned with forgiveness. But when you're in the ego, you know, when you're triggered, then there are attack thoughts that are in the mind. So my thoughts were along the lines of, this is unnecessary, why do I have to be in this situation? Toothbrushing does not need to involve such noises. I don't like this. I wish this was different. And then I dropped deeper. Just getting in touch with those attack thoughts is very, very helpful. But down beneath the attack thoughts are beliefs. And so I traced down deeper to see, what do I believe here? Because the beliefs are what the attack thoughts are coming from. And the belief that I could see is a belief that, and I don't remember exactly what it is, it's in the book, but it would have been something along the lines of being trapped, you know, and being a victim. Like, this is not what I want and how I want to be living my life. And it's that intense, even though it may seem like something as silly as toothbrushing noises. It's not. I know. It's intense. And when you get right down to this feeling, it's like, I don't want to be here. I mean, that I don't want to be here is what sent me off a cliff. It's the same, I don't want to be here. No? And so getting down to it and seeing that, and usually that's as far as forgiveness goes, like getting down to this core belief in a victimization, or, you know, I'm a victim of the situation, or I'm trapped, I don't want to be here, it should be different. But that's not it. There's another deeper layer underneath, and that's desire, which you could call the altar of your heart, or the deepest desire of your heart or your mind. Now, when that is purely for God, all you know is God. When there's something else that's desired, then you're having an experience other than only God. And this is where this radical honesty comes in. It's like, okay, what do I want here? And that's easy to see. I want David to stop making those noises. I want to be somewhere else. I want this world to be different. I don't want to be here. These are all wants. There's a desire to be in this world happy without the toothbrushing noises. And when I could get down to that, and I know it's funny when I say it like this, but there is a grip in the mind that is righteous in its anger, and it's righteous in its identity. Like, I want it to be different to how it is, and that's the ego. Because the premise of the ego is, I would be happy if something in this world was different. Because the premise of the ego is, I want this to be my home and I want it to be perfect for me. Whereas if you want only God, purely God, and your mind is so purely only the Creator, that's all I want. My home is in you. I don't want anything of this world. I don't need anything to change, because truly all I want is you. That's the release point. It's like an exchange of what I think I want and how I want the world to be different, and a shift towards I truly only want the peace of God. And that is how this identity is undone, because this identity of a self has got so many unconscious beliefs running that are holding it and its world together. And every little grievance like that is like a treasure hunt. It can be traced all the way down to the treasure of seeing, oh, what is it that I want here? And I had to go through seeing what everyone on this planet would consider to be absolutely justifiable, normal wants. Like, who doesn't want a world without abuse? Do you know anyone? Mm-hmm. Who does not want a world without drama, without pain? But every time I traced these beliefs, these down to this identity, I could see there was a self, there was a desire to be a human. When I could see it, it's like, I want a world in which I want the world. That's what's at the core of it. I want the world. Well, if you want the world, that's what you get. If you want heaven, that's what you get. So it's deep. It's really deep to do this inner inquiry work, and yet it's just incredible to see how we really do want this world, and that's why we've got it. Like, I wanted the environment to be saved. I had so much passion as a young child around vegetarianism and saving the world, saving the planet, saving the whales, saving the forests. Like, I was Greenpeace activist at the age of 9. I burned out when I was 13.